Yeah, well, probably at the mid-season break, we had a chance as a club to reflect, and so the difficulty is that there's the here and now, and there's the future for our footy club. And what we wanted to do after reflecting on the first half of the year is just give ourselves a chance to be in the contest more. We won a close game last week against West Coast. We lose a close game today against Collingwood. We did a lot right, but we gave ourselves a chance. We have a shot at goal right on the death knock, just goes to the wrong side of the post. But we're right in that game, right to the death knock. Collingwood, really experienced side, and you think of the amount of games in that type of atmosphere that they've played over the last 2 years. They've got 30 or 40 games experience across the board on our players. So the learning, despite the disappointment of the loss, the learning for our lads will be profound. Disappointed, obviously, but I think we were able to show at different aspects of the game today that we can put it together against a really good side. And disappointed that we let such a significant margin get whittled away, but then it's just in the lap of the gods in terms of which side of the post it's going to go to, key decisions, key contests. It's just like it's in the lap of the gods who wins that game in the end, and we just couldn't quite get there, unfortunately.
About a minute before that shot on goal, Bailey Scott took a mark on the wing and looked like he got swamped by a couple of Magpies players. But were you surprised that wasn't paid a 50-metre penalty?
Oh, the same sort of thing. Like there's contests and decisions like that the umps have to make right throughout the course of the game, and feel like they become more pivotal because they're right at the death knock in a close game, but they're making hundreds of decisions a game, and the bottom line is it should never have got to that situation in the first instance where we allowed Collingwood back into the contest, and that's the learning that we've got to make. They made it frenetic footy. They just took punts, downhill skied, and were able to get the ball from one end to the other really quickly. And as part of this is just the simple conditioning of players to be able to run games out. Like George Wardlaw I'd imagine he was best on ground in the first half, and it's just like by the end of the game though, he's not getting across the ground anywhere near as what he did. It's just can't do anything about that until he gets to 30, 40, 60, 80 games of footy, and he'll be able to do the things in the middle of the ground that you need a midfielder to be able to run out of full four quarters, and that was the case with a lot of our boys, and that's the learning. Some of it is just time for us. We just need to put more training and more work in and give them more exposure to those type of games, so that they learn when to go fast, when to go slow, when to compose it, when to make it frenetic. And Collingwood have been the best side in the competition in the last 3 years at knowing when to go fast and when to just slow it down. And they made it real fast in the second half, and we couldn't slow it down, unfortunately.
More broadly, have you gained a bit this week by having the 25-year anniversary and exposing your young list to the success the club's had in the past? Everything that goes with it?
Yeah, well, we've had some a lot of the premiership players from the '99 granny were at a function today, and Dennis has been around the club this week, which has been really special for both him and the footy club. So it's recognising the past of our footy club, because that helps you to understand what it takes to go forward. But it's now about our lads who've got the opportunity to wear the Guernsey now to try to write their own chapter, and we've got a fair way to go. But we showed against a really good side today that we're capable of being able to mix it with some of these sides, but we just got to be able to sustain it for 4 quarters. And our first half was outstanding, and third quarter the game was starting to turn. It was 6 goals to 4 in favour of Collingwood, and it just gave them enough of a sniff to get themselves back into the contest. And they're a terrific side, but we've just got to learn to be able to cope with the pressure when it comes at its fiercest, when the opposition get a run on.
What would you have hoped the players would be able to do when you've got 5 goals lead 3/4 time in that last quarter?
Yeah, well, we knew that we spoke about it at half time, the changes that Collingwood might make to get themselves back into the contest, and and they would, they'll look at it at their own game. And say, oh, this is why we got back into the contest. But some of the things that they were doing, it was just like a Russian roulette of whether it was going to come off or not. And unfortunately, some of those really, really brave 50-50 plays that should have been turned over when we were turning those over earlier in the game, we couldn't turn them over, and some luck plays actually just fell in the lap of their players. And they'll look at that and say that's really, really good play, and in a sense it is, but it could have easily just gone the other way, which it has done at different stages with them. When they've played the good sides like at Brisbane, where they've been down in those sort of games before, and they try to take a punt to get back into the game, and it goes the other way for them. So, but it's good footy by them to actually give themselves a chance to get back into the contest, and that's why they've won so many close games over the journey of the last 2 to 3 years. And we need to work out a way how to stem the tide when it's happening against us, and also if we find ourselves behind, that how can we play like that to get ourselves back into the game as well. But that's just great learning for our boys. It's disappointing that you've got to go through it, but I've been through more disappointment and heartbreak than today. Losing grand finals and big finals, that's where everything's on the line, and then you've got no next week. We'll take some learnings out of this game, being really, really encouraged by challenging the last year's premier so strongly for the whole of the game today, and butter up and get ourselves ready for the game against Melbourne next week, and knowing full well that after we recover from this game, we're going to have to dust ourselves off and bring the energy level and the intensity and the pressure that we've applied the last 2 weeks, and do it against a really good Melbourne side.
Why'd you sub Will Phillips off at 3/4 time? Doing a good job on
Yeah, he was doing a good job, but we had the freshness of the sub, and Will was starting to fatigue a little bit, and we just thought the freshness of the sub, Liam Shields going to try and finish that job off. When you don't win, you sit there and say, "Oh, geez, was that pivotal?" I don't think it was pivotal in terms of the final result, but we just wanted to use the freshness of our sub. That and Slevo was okay when he came on and gave us a little bit of drive. Had a couple of opportunities near goal that he had one early in the last quarter that we'd think he'd normally convert that shot, even though it was from a tight angle. You take some punts with the sub sometimes, and we just thought the fresh legs would help us in the last part of the game.
When was the decision made on Jai Sinkett this week?
Probably last night. He trained fully on Friday and just pulled up tight. It just a sort of dull awareness. So we got that scanned yesterday and just showed the slightest of a bleed in his leg. So we just can't afford to take a punt like that. And that's a pretty harsh out. He's best on ground last week. He's the captain of our footy club, and to have him miss was hard for us. But they've got their best couple of midfielders out of the. It's hard to say Nick Dacos isn't their best midfielder, but with DeGoey and Pendlebury and these guys out of their side, so you just roll with the punches. We're disappointed that he missed, but we're hoping it's just minor, and he might even be a chance to play next week.
Hindsight's always 20/20, but Nick Dacos ended up probably being the most influential player on the ground that last score, 10 touches. If you had your time again, would you maybe done a bit differently with the sub?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. They're a good side that get going, and the bottom line is we fatigue with our contest to be able to contests that were a halving or it was just bouncing out of our forward line just far too easily, and then contests behind the ball that we were winning when they did just hack it out. In the first half, we were in those contests, and it was the thing when we were fresh and energetic and we're controlling the momentum of the game, and Collingwood did that in the last part of the contest, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, but sometimes you make the right decision, and sometimes it doesn't work for you. But by and large, we did enough today to suggest that we're on the right track. But we'll dust ourselves off and get ourselves ready for Melbourne next week.
What was your reset? You said you'd reset to be more competitive. I mean, does it just show that you're evolving as a young group, or have you actually deliberately made a few changes?
Well, we made some tweaks that hopefully you guys will have to work out rather than us telling you what they are. But we just need to become more competitive around the footy, and get stronger contests forward to the ball with some taller guys, and but that's pretty much it really.
I mean, in that first half, guys like Davies, Uniacks, Wardlaw, Sheasel, they were really dominating one of the best teams in the comp. Is that sort of the window that you give the fans? This is what the future is going to look like with a bit more consistency.
Yeah, but we need a sample size greater than 2 games. And it's not even 2 games. We've done it well for 6 quarters really. The bulk of the game against West Coast to put ourselves in a position to win, and then a half or maybe 3 quarters this week. But just sustaining that effort for the game goes for 130 minutes. It's the longest for a ballistic ball sport in the world. AFL have got it. 130 minutes is a long time to play. And unfortunately, we've got to learn to be able to play that right out to the death, and we're unable to do it today.
Have you got an update on Braden George yet?
No, but I've heard he's hurt his knee, which is just so sad for the kid. If that is the case, I've worked so hard, and then he had a mishap in a gym accident over the summer, and dislocated or fractured his elbow or something. So he's done it tough, but this is a tough, brutal game, and it's a resilience you need. And he probably only needs to look at someone like a Charlie Comben and the amount of disheartened injuries he's had over the journey to say that if you just persevere through them, you get your body strong, that you can come back, and hopefully he can stick tough and stick fat through this tough period for him, and we'll give him all the support he needs.
Bryn's first game for the cup was pretty lively.
Yeah, he both in the ruck, and took a couple of important marks forward, but probably reflective of the side. Just some of our impact in the second half wasn't to the same influence as what it was in the first half. So we'll look at that. Our players will be disappointed, but spoke to them just before. It's like we're playing a high quality team that saluted last year, and we need to look not just at the result of the game, but the way that we went about the game, and we're right in that contest. And as I said, ball goes one side of the post to the other, and we win that game of footy.
Any injuries from today?
No, I don't think so. No. Thanks, guys. Cheers.